All right, concert journal number 4, August 22nd, 2023. The Let the Bad Times Roll tour with Offspring, Sum 41, and Simple Plan. The venue was Blossom Music Center in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. It's an amphitheater with lawn seating. It's like an outdoor facility,
Right.
sort of like around Cleveland and Akron.
Yeah, so Cuyahoga Falls is just northwest of Akron, Ohio. This is the outdoor venue for the Cleveland-Akron area pavilion slash big outdoor areas. So like the Cleveland Orchestra will play there, and it resides in Cuyahoga Falls. So you'll see concert shirts that'll say Cleveland, and then sometimes you get it and it'll say Cuyahoga Falls, and you may like, what the heck's Cuyahoga Falls? Like, I guess technically that's where it is, but it's serving concerts in the Cleveland area for that. But it was built like in the late 60s or something like that. Yeah, so it's a huge amphitheater. Parking is just in a field, which odd enough, right? This facility's been around for like 50 years. It's just field parking, which has it's just undulating hills, and you just kind of park on it. There's not a lot of organization to it, whatever. It is what it is. That's the one complaint, though, that I've heard from others, that they hate going there just because of the parking. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know. You just have to be patient. I mean, it has two ways in, 2 ways out. So, like, exiting that isn't as big of a deal as some of the other venues we've been to. Whatever. It's a small point, but we've been there a couple times, and it's really hasn't been that much of an issue. So the parking lot, it's a bit of a walk. Like, you park, and then it is a walk to get to the venue, which isn't the worst thing in the world. Like, going there, but when you leave, it's this huge mass of people walking quarter mile, half a mile, whatever, to get out there.
And plus, then, depending on how much you were standing the whole time, it can be either fine or miserable.
Yeah, exactly. Or if it was raining, it'd be really miserable because you have a long way to go in the weather.
Or if it was, like, stupid hot.
Yeah. So this time was the first time there that we went, and they had a merch stand in the parking lot, which is great. So we parked, walked a little bit, hey, merch stand.
Yeah.
And then made our purchases, dropped it off in our car, and then continued into the venue. We got there right as the gates opened. They have a lot of employees that can kind of process people to get through. So once the gate opened, even though there's a big backlog of people, it actually goes fairly quick. And there's quite a bit of food there and all that stuff with some more merch stands. I think there was 2 outside and 2 inside.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think
So that worked out. So this venue, or at least let me back up. So this concert had been for sale for quite a while. It wasn't actually on our to-do list. It just kind of popped up and we realized, hey, well, I was off from work and it hadn't sold out. And so looking at the tickets, not only had it not sold out, but there was actually tickets available for the pit, which weren't actually that much more expensive than seating in the amphitheater. Like, I'm actually kind of surprised at that. If it was only, let's say, a $20 or $30 difference, that maybe no one wanted to stand. But I figured it'll be the one time we'll splurge that extra bit so you can experience the pit at a concert, like literally front row at that. So don't get used to it. But the price point was there for this one. So, so we got the tickets probably just a couple weeks out.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was like beginning of August or something, so a few weeks before.
Yeah. So that worked out. So wasn't really a bucket list and anything, but we decided to go. And then what bands were here? So the opener was...
Opener was Sum 41, which is a Canadian pop-punk band. This was actually their farewell tour, their last tour, because I think it was a little bit after they started, they said that they were going to do one more album, and this is their last tour, and they were calling it quits afterwards.
Yeah. So I was familiar with them when they kind of blew up on the scene, and that was it. I mean, I knew some of their songs from when that happened, but I didn't really know much about them beyond that. But it seemed to be a pretty good show, or at least everyone seemed to be kind of into it, and had some good energy.
Yeah.
You know.
It was a pretty short set list, though. Well, I guess they were the opener, but still it was like 7, 8 songs, I think.
Yeah. So I guess it's weird that if it was their final like farewell tour, that they opted to be an opening band
Yeah.
rather than do something with smaller venues where they'd be the headliner and could do maybe longer sets or something like that. I don't know. Maybe logistics or timing. This is just the best thing for them, so they ended up doing that.
Yeah, but they played all the songs we knew. They did a cover of Queen's "We Will Rock You," but it was I thought it was gonna be kind of lame when I saw it on like the set list, but like it was actually pretty cool because they like I guess like pop punkified it, so it wasn't just like the same exact song.
Yeah, yeah, it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
So after them, who came out?
Simple Plan, which is another Canadian pop punk band. We did not know who they were.
No.
We just saw them because when we were talking about, we were always like Offspring, Sum 41, and someone because we did not know who they were.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people were there for them because we saw a lot of Simple Plan shirts.
Yeah.
So clearly people were there for them.
I guess they had one song that I had heard. I didn't know that they sang it, but anyway, they had good energy. I mean, they got the crowd involved, and they did play a little bit of a longer set just because they were co-headlining with the Offspring. So that was enjoyable.
They did, because I'm pretty sure for one Scooby-Doo show they did the theme song, so they played that, and they had a guy dressed up in like a Scooby-Doo onesie come out.
Yeah. Yeah, that was, I guess, I don't know the backstory to it, but anyway, that was part of their sets. Anyway, so then that one was over, and then I guess the only band that I really knew and be interested in seeing was the final band, The Offspring, which is out of California, and they, I don't know, they put on a great show. So before that, let's back up though. So before they played, one nice thing was that they had a countdown that was projected on like the back of the stage on a screen.
Which is another one of our favorite things.
Yeah, exactly. We haven't seen it much, if at all, beyond this, but I didn't go. Gojira did it the first time I saw him, but so it gave you an idea of how much longer you had to wait. And then they had a guy in a monkey suit come out, and he was doing all of these shenanigans with people in the audience. He was running up and down like, the security row in front of the pit. And they had cameras and stuff tracking them, and then there was kind of like games.
Yeah, they did I think they did like trivia. They launched these. They had like a slingshot that they were like pulling back, and they were launching T-shirts into the crowd. But they're like folded up like this big with like covered in like rubber bands and like tape, and they were going like almost like into the lawn. I'm like, if you're not looking, that's hitting you right in the head. And
and this is not a small amphitheater, and they were clearing it. It was moving, like they really went. So I wouldn't want to get blindsided by a T-shirt at who knows how fast. But
we also showed up on one of the TVs for a part because what do they call? They call it like the FU camera center. We had to like flip off the camera and then we showed up.
Oh, that's right. I tried to get a picture of that. I don't know if I did. I'll take a look. If we did, I'll put it up here. But I don't think I was, because it goes so fast. But anyway, it helped the between setup from Simple Plan to Offspring go a lot faster, because the whole time you're kind of being entertained and at least watching what's going on.
Yeah.
So that was actually pretty interesting. So this was the first time we had seen them. They played all these hits. So I was, again, only really familiar with their first 2 albums. But they played a lot of stuff that I enjoyed. It was really good. There was quite a bit of talking. I talked to someone that I knew else that was there, and that for them, that was kind of the deal breaker. They did not enjoy the show. In fact, they left early because maybe it was because they couldn't hear what they were talking about, but I get it. You come to listen to songs and you have some talking because you're just rambling on about whatever. Whatever. It didn't take away from our experience, but again, maybe it was just the novelty of being super close in the pit. You're like, great. We would have had a different thought if we were sitting out in the lawn on that one. But so that was enjoyable. Then at the end of the show, actually this was true for all of the artists, but more so I guess because of the Offspring. But the band they're handing out all the picks. There was a beach ball, all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And who got most of it?
So sadly, the person who was next to us was, I think it was like a mom who had a kid who definitely was nowhere near above the age of like 7 or something.
He was super young, yeah.
Yeah. So of course, when I think they're throwing it to us, they're actually throwing it next to us, and so he got probably like 7 picks or something, because one even went behind him and a guy went to pick it up, but as soon as he looked up and saw it was a kid, he's like, crap, I have to get it.
Yeah. So the bands really went. They saw him in the front, and so they're making sure he had the picks, that he had, drumsticks, that set lists. He had this kid had everything, and
I know.
whatever. I get it, but I also was a little disappointed because there was a lot of super fans for all of these bands, and they were just clamoring to get something. And this kid who had little idea of what was going on was just basically walking away with everything there. But he didn't get everything because
So after they passed all the picks out, a guy comes back with the drumsticks and he starts handing them out, and of course he gives the kid one first. But after, I'm pretty sure he had like literally one left, and we got it.
Yeah, well, you got it, right? Yeah, so I guess even then you were a kid, and there's some other older guys like, what the heck's this kid doing, getting all that stuff? But so the security guy in front of us, we actually recognized him because we had seen him and stood next to line in him for a Nick Mason concert in Akron, which was, I don't even know, was that earlier? It was like almost a year before, 9 months, 10 months before.
Yeah, I think so.
Because that was delayed due to COVID. And so we're like, hey, whatever. So we kind of coerced, and I thought, great, we have a connection with them. So at the end of the show, if there's set lists involved or something, that maybe that'll help. So as much as we talked to him between all the sets and everything, it finally got down to, it didn't help. So all the stuff went to the kid down at the end.
Yeah, because I think he did have some stuff that was on the ground that was passing up, but he was like all the way like down there.
Well, still worth the effort. He was nice, I'm sure we'll probably encounter him again because he seems to be going to other concerts, let alone working at Blossom. So anyway, but we came with a drumstick, so we can't really complain. That was the first. I've never gotten one in all my years of concerts, and you have one within your first 2 years of concerts. So, so the one thing that we learned, and this blew my mind, was so the gentleman that we were talking to, he had, he was part of the security in there, an employee, and he had a kind of like an employee worksheet for the event. And he set it down, and I took a picture, and I'll put it up here. But it was like all the real information about this event. So it was supposed to start at 7, and so we are sitting here at like 7:05, 7:10, like nothing's happening. And I always wondered about that, because we've all been to concerts where they say it starts at the top of the hour, and it can be 15, 20, 30 minutes after. Like, is this the band? Is the band doing that? Well, it turns out it's not. It's scheduled. So we looked over at this thing, and it says scheduled start time 7:20. That's when it started. And I'm like, what? Why do they advertise it starting at this, and then it's literally scheduled and they start on time? So that was fascinating. I guess I never knew that. So to see that in print, I'm sure if someone's worked at one of these venues, they would know this. But for someone who's only been there as an attendee, man, that just kind of rubs me the wrong way. Like, just tell me the advertised time is, and I'll be there. But
I know.
Don't say like that, and then it's a half an hour or more later, and you're like watching your clock going, geez, maybe I should have done something else before this and go to the bathroom or something, but whatever. So looking at that, there was a lot of information on there. And so it's not the best of pictures that I have, but basically the best I could do. So a couple of things, I'll just read them because we kind of made notes of them. So it said the attendance for this event was 15,500. For some reason, it said that the 1999 attendance was 4,104. So why they told that to them, I don't know. I don't know what that's based on.
Yeah.
Like, this venue is so big. I can't imagine that they would have something that only had 4,000 people. I mean, that's not whatever. It included that. It had a list of the permitted items, and I'm guessing this may vary by the type of venue. Maybe they're more lax for the, orchestra playing, and maybe have different rules for a rock show or something like that. One that was interesting, it said food, you can bring it in. You can bring in a 1-gallon clear Ziploc bag of food. I don't think they advertise it anywhere, but I can imagine like you could literally bring a dinner, put it in a Ziploc bag, and walk in with some food. So I don't know why that wasn't better advertised. Not that we were going to do that, because I don't want to carry around a bag of food, especially if you're down in the pit. But they had a list of what they called upsell items and the price of how much. So I guess if you're there, maybe you could ask about, hey, what would it cost me to get into another type of thing, better seat. So a couple that had a VIP green room, so they had 30 available, but they only sold 2 of them. So $75 a pop. I don't know what the VIP green room gets, but there's only 2 people in there. I'm guessing they were together, and so they're now in a green room. And
or they're just 2 strangers and they're just like in there like awkwardly like standing next to each other.
Exactly. So I don't know. It didn't seem. I mean, maybe they need a band member. I don't know. It just said that. But and then the last one was a VIP club. 69 available, 31 were sold. They were $10 cheaper, $65. So more people participated in that. I don't know how these upsales work, but whatever. It was something that I'd never heard of, so to see that in print was interesting. They also had like meet and greet times where each band had a meet and greet party thing. Maybe that's part of this VIP thing, and when all those things. So anyway, that's all printed out on this thing, so someone would know exactly when it happened. No, just don't lie about the start time. I don't care about all this other stuff. Just don't lie about the start time, please. Oh, that's right. It did have a warning, too, a heads up with the T-shirt can was being used. So everybody was aware that T-shirts would be a-flying, at least if you're an employee. It didn't really warn the attendees there. But okay, so the bands, all 3 of them are done, so let's rank the bands. So starting with the opener, which was Sum 41.
I would give them a green. I like them. I thought they were pretty fun.
Yeah. I'm aware of them. To be honest, I'm not a real big punk person. I look forward to the Offspring because I was familiar with them. So a yellow, and I think that was probably more that it was their final tour, so I can say that I've seen them. And you know, they put on a good show. Don't get me wrong. I mean, regardless of what type of music you like, I felt that they were good. And then Simple Plan.
Yellow, they were fine. Whatever.
Yeah, I'd give them a yellow too, but I think more so as if they were part of a festival. Because again, they had good energy, they interacted well with the crowd. It definitely wouldn't be a draw for a concert, but again, that kind of goes more to the type of music than anything else. And then finally, the Offspring.
Green, they were really fun. I like them.
Yes. I've always liked the Offspring. Again, but more so on the front end of their catalog. But yeah, absolutely a green. I wouldn't mind seeing them again. Maybe if they did talk a little less. But I don't know, maybe that's part of their shtick. I don't know. I mean, it didn't detract from it, but maybe you see them enough times and it's the same shtick. I don't know. It gets a little old. But no, they were enjoyable. I'd like to see them again. All right, so what merch did we get? So we bought ours in the parking lot, and what was the selection like?
So I got sort of just like I guess you could call it generic Offspring shirt where it just had Offspring and then like their logo and like some cool stuff on it with the dates on the back.
Yeah, and then I got an Offspring one, but was more it had the woman with the Day of the Dead face paint on it, and it was for this tour that they had put their latest album, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the album cover.
Yeah. But they didn't seem to have a lot of stuff for the actual tour.
Yeah.
You know, so the selection was a little limited on that. It is kind of nice when you have a couple bands you could just get all in one shirt. You can get everybody in one shirt and you're done. And they didn't really have that. So the selection was okay. I felt like, I'm happy with what I got. I thought because it was kind of a premium. It was an extra like $5 or $10 because it wasn't just a pure black. It's kind of like this dark, almost like tie-dyed blue thing, which is pretty cool because again, it's different. You can only have so many black shirts, and so it's nice to have something that's not just black. I
do wish that they had like a patch or like a pin or something.
Yeah. There was no patches or pins.
Yeah. But I think they had like a sticker set or something, which is like a weird choice. I don't think I've ever been to a concert where they had a sticker set.
Yeah. Yeah, especially since the Offspring, they have like a cool logo, kind of
Yeah.
the flaming head skull. Like, that would be a neat patch or something like that. But whatever, maybe we'll have to catch them. If they're the sole headliner, maybe they break out a little bit more stuff for the merch stand. So, all right. And so also to kind of launch the beginning of our concert, we did a lot of people watching. We were able to do a lot of it in the parking lot because a lot of people hanging out. So we started doing the counting the first 100 band shirts we saw and what were our top 5.
So tied for 5th and 4th place is Green Day and Sum 41, both with 6.
Okay, so that fit the concert pretty well, right? So even though Green Day, they're kind of the same kind of punk pop band. Next.
Tied for 3rd and 2nd is Blink-182 and Simple Plan with both a 10.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so it's all on brand with all of that. And then number 1,
Offspring with 22.
22. And that was about right. I think a lot of people were there to see Offspring. The other ones were kind of, appropriate add-ons to it. So
Yeah, like because those are like all like pop punk bands, so like they all make sense.
yeah, and Offspring has probably had the biggest popularity through that. So anyway, so did we have any notable shirts in addition to those?
So another notable was also notable at Buzzard Fest, but the Black Keys, a local band or Ohio-based band.
Yeah, Northeast Ohio. So they're out of Akron, which is literally just down the road. And we saw Black Keys at Blossom not long ago, and the lead singer shared what with us? Well, not with us, but everybody that was there.
But the lead singer, his summer job was he worked the parking lots at Blossom.
Yeah, so he was like, be kind to the parking lot workers. So, yeah, so this venue, it's kind of neat that it has that connection that a local band, which is pretty big, the guy worked there. So anyway, so he's playing there after all these years later. So that was kind of neat. So, yeah, so Black Keys was on a shirt there.
Ice Cube, which is I think it's a weird pick. It's like rap with like pop punk. That's
yeah, that was an odd connection. And then kind of rounding it out, there was
a lot of metal shirts.
A lot of metal shirts, but maybe again, I think Offspring with its popularity. I mean, similar to us, like you go see a lot of metal shows. So if you want a concert T-shirt, your T-shirt is most likely to be a metal band. So they had a lot, but a lot of the classics, Iron Maiden.
Yeah, there's like Metallica. Some other weird, like Cold Chamber and like Korn.
Yeah, Cold Chamber. So, but anyway, so that was pretty interesting to see that those are fairly well represented at the show. So, what first did we have during this concert?
So first time we saw the bands.
Correct. Okay, saw all the bands for the first time.
First time we were in the pit.
First time in the pit, right? So we got the wristband.
Yeah.
We got the whole 9 yards. So again, don't get used to it. That probably won't happen again. First punk show.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I've seen the Ramones back when the Ramones were still around. But like, I guess technically this was like the full show as a punk show because they were part of Lollapalooza and maybe something else. But
yeah, because I don't think we've done any other ones. It's like I feel like there's not many at least like punk bands coming here, or at least ones that I'd want to see. It's like Misfits. They're mainly just doing like festivals, and it's like I don't know. It's like I don't know any other ones that are on tour. I think No Effects is on tour. They're doing like a final tour or something, but whatever.
All right, and then
first time we got the drums.
Got a drumstick, or you got a drumstick,
Yeah.
right? So we've had some success with set lists, and this time you have a drumstick with it. So there you go. That was actually pretty nice first.
Yeah.
Okay, so overall review. So the venue, which this isn't our first time to Blossom, but it was our first time, A, where they had a merch stand in the parking lot, and two, was the first time that we're in a pit. So did that change your experience?
It was fun. I think it would be fun for like a metal show, but again, I think I'm just biased with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Green, love Blossom. It's always fun.
Green, yeah. I mean, the pit was enjoyable. Having a merch stand edition, I may depend on the size of the band or the concert, whether they have that or not. But no, it's a solid green. We enjoy going there. We've been there once in a thunderstorm, so we've seen kind of every bit of weather that you can at Blossom. The merch.
Yellow. It was fine.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, like I think just because they didn't have like good, like since as part of this tour that they were doing with the three bands, that they didn't have a lot of stuff unique to that, and then maybe a patch or two would have helped. But so it was a good mix. I'll give it a yellow as well. Always room for improvement with that. And then the last one was just the overall concert.
Green. It was really fun. Fun being in the pit. Fun seeing all the bands.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the Offspring. I didn't care for the other bands exactly. I mean, they were enjoyable, but I think being in the pit was a fun experience, at least to have that once. And yeah, we had a great time. The bands were all good performers, and whether you knew of them or not, you know, at least you were engaged during the show. So yeah, overall that was a good experience. So that concludes journal number 4 for the Offspring, Simple Plan, and Sum 41. Thanks for watching.